Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I'm doing a currently reading video. I'm from a slightly different setup today. I have had a massive change in my book room. We've moved Matilda we're in a townhouse, which means we've got 3 floors, and Matilda has always been on this floor, which is the second floor, the middle floor, and her bedroom's just got too small for her. She's got lots more big toys now, lots of Lego and things like that, and that was all taking over our lounge area downstairs, and so we have moved her upstairs onto the same floor as us, and she now has a much bigger bedroom to spread out. So we then turned her bedroom into our spare bedroom, which meant that the big day bed that used to take up a load of space in my book room could come out, and I have totally just refreshed this room. I can now have the curtains wide open. It just feels so much nicer and airier and cleaner and fresher, and the space feels much better, which is really nice. So I thought I would just film from a slightly different position. This is my 5-star reads at the bottom, and then my science fiction in the middle, TBR books I haven't read, and then at the very top is all my graphic novels and comics. So yeah, just thought it'd be nice to film from somewhere else. Today I'm going to be doing a currently reading. It's not often or rarely that I ever do one of these, because often it would be boring, because I tend to be a very one book girl. I'm not good with more than one things on the go at the same time. I like to have one book, that's the book I'm reading, I read that to the end, and then I start the next one. However, at the moment I am trying something new, because there are various things that I need to read or want to read, so I'm giving it a go, so we'll see. But those books, the first book is The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. This is a collection, I believe, of novellas. How many novellas are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 novellas in this book, which I think a lot of them precede the first book, or come after the first book. You should read them. Well, I've read books 1 and 2, so I think this is quite a good time to read this, and I think because they are sort of novellas, there's 5 in here, I might try and read like 1 and then put it down for a bit and then read the next one. So if you didn't know about this, this is part of the Throne of Glass series. I'm very late to the party with this. It's been out for an awful long time, but I am working my way through them. I know that Janet from Swirly Girly Reads started with me, but I'm not sure whereabouts she is now. But I have finished, as I say, book 2, and I'm ready to read this and then move on to book 3. The story is about a main protagonist, Selena Sardothian. Selena, in the start of book 1, which is called Throne of Glass, has been spending a year in a slave labour camp. She's caught. She was a trained assassin, and she is then brought back by the prince to try and win a competition to be the king's assassin, and she goes on through the first book in the trials of that, and there is also backstory, and we're learning more about her backstory and also about the kingdom and the world that this is set in. I believe that this book is stories about her time before going into the slave labour camp, when she was found as an orphan and trained in the art of assassination. And so I'm looking forward to reading this. I'm hoping it will give us a really good backstory into Selena, and give a bit more meat to that character. The next book I'm reading, I'm doing a buddy read with the lovely Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings, and we are going to be reading A Winter's Promise together. This is book 1 in the Mirror Visitor series by Christabel de Bos. This has been translated from its original language of French. As always in these fantastical books, women are just shunted off to whoever wants them, and our main character in this, Ophelia, has 2 really important gifts. She can travel through mirrors, and she can read the past of objects that she holds. She is promised to a man, you know, never asked if it's something she's interested in. She's promised to a man in marriage, and she follows him to his kingdom, where she discovers that she is being used as some sort of political pawn, and there is sort of danger behind every door. And I really enjoy these sort of books. I'm hoping that Ophelia is going to turn out to be a really independent and strong-willed female main character, and I'm really looking forward to delving into this world, and hopefully it'll be one I enjoy and want to carry on with the series. It says in the blurb that it was a French runaway hit, so I'm hoping that it will be a runaway hit for myself and Mercedes too, and that we have lots to chat about. I'm also currently reading a book for my book club that I set up. I don't know if you've ever watched my book club video. I'll link it up here. I did it with the lovely Lauren from Lauren and the Books, and we talked about book clubs, and I was saying to her that you know, I really struggled with book clubs and getting them going, and finding people to do the book club with, and having people committed to doing it. But I think I found a group of at least the three of us, two other ladies from work, who we're meeting up regularly, and we have a couple of others that are going to dip in and out when they can. And we've now read 2 books and it's gone quite well. What we do is we pick our theme out of a jar, and then from that theme we have a little bit of a chat while we're at the pub about what book, and we pick a book. The theme for this month is feminism and feminists. And so one of the girls recommended this. She watches the podcast. I'd never heard of either. So I'm really excited, and I'm going to be reading this. I'm starting it today. This is why they're currently reading. It's The Guilty Feminist by Deborah Frances-White, which is also the name of her podcast, The Guilty Feminist. So I believe that this book contains articles and interviews. It says this is a funny, joyful, frank and inspiring book about embracing both feminism and our imperfections, from Deborah Frances-White, the creator of the hit podcast The Guilty Feminist. From inclusion to the secret autonomy of rom-coms, from effective activism to what poker can tell us about power structures, Deborah explores what it means to be a 21st century feminist and encourages us to make the world better for everyone. The book also includes exclusive interviews with performers, activists and thinkers: Jessamine Stanley, Zoe Coombs-Marr, Susan Wokoma, Bisha K. Ali, Riebs Walsh, Becca Bunce, Amika George, Mo Mansfield and Layla Hussein, plus a piece from Hannah Gadsby. So I'm really looking forward to this and jumping in and seeing what I think, and having some really interesting discussions about this at book club. And then if I'm just in the mood for something that I can read from start to finish and just sort of one little thing, I've been picking up my copies of New Humanist. Now, I saw this on Mercedes' channel and I talked to her a little bit about them. They are magazines and I really enjoyed them, so I've been subscribing. So I've been going through them and reading articles occasionally. I'm currently reading an article, I don't know if you can see that, called The Wilderness in Us. We've always been shaped by the natural landscape, just as it has been shaped by our history, and that's by Fiona Sampson. But this issue also had articles on why currently we are all obsessed with the end of the world. There was a article on Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. There is about Britain's approach to incarceration becoming under scrutiny. There's all sorts of different stories in here. There is the cover story, which was Defenders of the Earth, which was about environmental activists and looking about sort of Trump's America and things like that, and how they're coming under attack. And I'm just really enjoying it. So I've got quite a few issues because I'm not very good at picking them up, but I have currently been using these a bit of my bath reads. I've been taking them when I go into the bath and just reading an article or two while I'm sitting there in the tub. So yeah, that is what I'm currently reading. I'm reading a YA fantasy. I'm not sure what A Winter's Promise comes under, but it is fantasy. I'm reading some magazines, and I'm also reading my non-fiction with The Guilty Feminist. So I'm reading quite a lot at the moment. I'm unsure how I'm going to feel. What the problem is I start one and I say, right, I'm going to read an article or a chapter of this, and then I'll try the next one and read a bit of that, and then alternate. But I always find one draws me in more than the other, and I always just want to read that one. And then if I don't and I try and flip between the others, it means that I end up feeling slumpy with the others, and then I think it can taint my enjoyment of them. So yeah, we'll see. This is currently reading. I'm starting all of these today, so apart from my magazine, which I've already been reading through. But yeah, we'll see how I get on, and yeah, we'll keep an eye out for these in a future wrap-up. Anyway, that's it from me, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.